Earlier this year, I wrote an article for Inside Self-Storage magazine that talked about the skills needed to get in the self-storage business today. Let's take a deep dive into that and use these next few episodes to explore that. Hello, my name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Quick Start Academy. And the Quick Start Academy is an online portal with training designed and geared for the small investor who wants to get in the self-storage business or who wants to strategically grow their self-storage business in a way that creates true wealth and a fulfilling career. And you can find more at quickstartacademy.com or creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com. And like I said, earlier this year I wrote an article for ISS, and I think that there is some really good information in here about what are the skills needed today in today's market to get in the self-storage business. And I want to take these next few episodes and really go into them. So if you're interested, below there will be a link to the original article, and at creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com, episode 178, I reprinted the article. And as we look at getting in the self-storage business today, the very first thing to do is to look at the landscape, the background of the industry itself. So as this is being recorded, prices are still very high. I'm talking 5 caps in many, many markets. Expensive resale on existing self-storage. There's a lot of new product coming online. We're moving towards oversupply in the economic cycle of self-storage right now. The industry is getting very sophisticated. The big players, the REITs, have really impacted the industry, and the tools that some owners are using are very sophisticated compared to others. So you have to be willing to grow, learn, expand, and develop new skill sets to be in the business today and to stay relevant. And your long-term success will require you to develop skills you don't even have yet. Unlike in the old days, where you just run a yellow page ad or put a sign up, sit back and let the facility fill up. Those days are over. So if you want to get in the self-storage business, my coaching is create a business. And here's how I would relate to the business. Here are 7 departments of your new getting in the self-storage business. Number 1, finding good deal flow. You're in the business of finding good deal flow, good opportunities. Number 2, how to analyze those opportunities, especially how to analyze what value add cash flows really going to be or really could be in the future. Number 3, financing, how to finance those value add opportunities. 4, and it's always been this way, putting cash in the deal, where you're in the business of either having money or getting access to money to put in the deal along with the financing. Number 5, a skill that's needed, whether you have it or not, and if not, we can get it, but the skill that's needed today, especially in the value add, is projecting construction expenses. Number 6 is actually doing construction, overseeing it, or the ability to manage a construction project, no matter how small or how large. In most value add situations today for the small investor in the self-storage business, there's usually a construction component. And lastly, how to oversee the subcontractors within that construction component. In my opinion, those are the skill sets needed today to be successful as you're moving in or growing your self-storage business. So we're going to go into detail on them in some future episodes, but let's just briefly touch on them. The ability to find good deal flow is a real art. In our next episode, we're going to go deep into this. I've done some other episodes on it, but there really is a skill set involved in getting in front of the deal flow, especially as more people are getting into the business and as this business expands and becomes accepted by the U.S. economy, and it is a fairly new product still. Getting in front of the right type of deal flow is important. That's a skill set you gotta have. Without it, you'll just be looking at what deals that other people have already looked at. I've spent a lot of time and a lot of episodes on analyzing. We'll touch on it again, but primarily if you're new and have not followed any of my training in the past, I'm going to point you to where you can get the training on how to analyze, but it's critical to be able to determine, not from a sales package and not from the seller's material, but taking the seller's material and determining A, what your cash flow is going to be on what's existing there, and B, what your cash flow is going to be after your value add. It's not as complicated as you think because it is self-storage, but if you do this piece correctly, opportunities open up that other people are unable to see because they don't know how to analyze, particularly that future cash flow. The financing component has never been more critical than it is today. There's a lot of options out there most people don't even know about, but being able to have the best financing available in many cases will determine whether you're in the self-storage business or not. So we're going to explore that in depth. Now, many of you already have your money, and that's great, but for those of you that don't, we'll explore how to get cash equity into your deals if you need more of that, and then how to project construction costs. There's a lot of resources out there if you're new into construction. I don't want to say just jump into construction head first. You better know what you're doing. But it's never been easier to figure out how to do it and what to do than it is today. But for most value add opportunities in the self-storage industry today, for the small investors to get the returns that we need, in most cases, we're doing some form of construction. You know, our sweet spot is to buy a smaller facility, mom and pop, that, you know, the big players aren't looking at, double its size, and then we end up with a product that a REIT would love to take out. We'll explore where to get access to those kind of numbers and what resources are out there to support you, and we'll take a look at what some of the numbers really are today. Then managing the construction project. We'll show you the different options that are available today for, especially, I'm going to assume you don't have a construction background and construction is something you've never done. We're going to show you, because that was my situation, we'll show you what folks like us and the ones that I work with do to handle the construction component. And one of the key elements all the way through this is your ability to deal with people, to deal with sellers, agents, customers, employees, and the ability to deal with subcontractors. That's a whole world unto itself. It was brand new to me, and we'll touch on that. That and the previous one, how to manage a construction project, were skill sets I had zero knowledge of before I got in the self-storage industry. I'll share with you how we did it and what your options are that are available to you. If you have those skills, manage. That doesn't mean you have to know it all. That's the good news. You can put a team together. Now, when you put a team together, your team is either going to be your partners, your employees, or they're going to be contractors. And we'll talk about, in each one of these skill sets, what the options available to you are. So my request is read the article and do your own inventory. What is your knowledge base and your skill sets? And out of these 7 that I've listed, where do you need the support? You'll need it somewhere. I don't think I've met anyone who has all of those skill sets handled. I know I sure didn't. So I look forward to looking next week at how we get into the deal flow. For me, that's some of the most fun of the whole thing. I look forward to being with you then. My name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Storage World Analyzer. And that's, when we talk about the financial analysis piece, that's the tool we use to do it. StorageWorldAnalyzer.com. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to being with you next week.